You still cold?
No, I'm not.
Oh, good.
Judge, we're live. I was telling him I'm the last person going to ask this.
I heard you. Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. It's 10 a.m. We're here for the regular session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. This time I'll call the meeting to order and ask Commissioner Martin to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our flags.
Shall we bow? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gift of life. As we take care of the county business, please give us knowledge, understanding, and patience with each other. We thank you for everything you have done. We can ask you to continue blessing this great country we live in. We ask you to protect the healthcare workers and those that are trying to do their best to try to take care in reference to the health profession completely. In Christ's name, we ask all these things. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. This morning we have Commissioner Hutchins, Strait, Martin, and Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall. I'll be presiding over the meeting today. The Commissioners, you have the minutes from August 24th, 2021 regular session in front of you. I entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Commissioners, you also have the minutes of August 31st, 2021 special session in front of you. I entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, it was public testimony. If anyone's present in the courtroom today that would like to come forward and address the court about anything on the agenda or not on the agenda, if it's on the agenda and you want to speak later, I'll call you up at that time. And if you're watching by Zoom online, you can go to huntcounty.net and find the banner for questions or comments, and you can put a comment at that appropriate place and send it to us, and it'll be read at the court. If you would like to address the court, you can put your phone number, and at an appropriate time we'll call you back and you'll be able to address the court by telephone. Being no one present wishing to speak, we'll come back to the internet folks later in case somebody wants to address us. New business, consent calendar. Commissioners, you got it in front of you. I entertain a motion for approval of the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 1, the fiscal year 2021 financial audit. Mr. Lake?
Quick, thank you.
We're getting here quick, get you out quick.
Well, I'll try to go through it quick. I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to be here today, and got a little apologies on I had this thing about ready to go in June, and we had some, let's just say, technical issues with our software at the office, and I'm just going to tell everybody right now that you better be checking your backups, because we found out we didn't have a backup. And so, needless to say, about 6 weeks, 8 weeks of work went away, and of course, when something like that happens, you're relying on the people that you were supposed to be relying on, and needless to say, after about 6 weeks of them giving us excuses and whatnot, pretty much everything was lost. So kind of had to start over, and that's why it's as late as it is getting it back to you. So I apologize for that. And with that said, I'll get into the report itself. The report's basically the same thing that you get every year. We'll start off on page 6, which are the independent auditors' reports. You'll note that there's 3 this year instead of 2. Because of all the federal money that's been coming through the county this past fiscal year, it's raised y'all to the level of what's required. It's called a single audit. So we had to look at some of your major federal programs in addition to looking at the regular things that we typically look at. So that's why an additional letter that's in here, and then I'll kind of point out the additional schedule that's back in the back of the report that's different than what we've had in the past. But with that said, we get to the independent auditor's report, which is page 6. It's what we all call an unmodified opinion. It's the best report you can receive. There's nothing in there that says that we identified anything in this set of financial statements that were not, to the best of our ability, accurate to reflect the financial position of the county as of and for the year ended September 30th. We follow that up with the 2 reports. The first one deals with compliance and internal control, basically state laws and things that how the accounting records are accounted for. We didn't identify that anything that we considered to be a material weakness in internal control, nor a significant deficiency, and we didn't find any kind of compliance issues that were there as well. I skipped a letter in there, okay. Then we get to the 3rd report. This one deals with the major federal programs. What we have to do is we have to go through a process where we identified what the major programs that y'all have as far as federal funds are concerned. You can actually see that on page 12. The identification of the major programs there are down about 2/3 of the way down the page there. It says the CRF, the Coronavirus Relief Fund, and then the Community Development Block Grant. The combination of those 2 programs is what we identified and we viewed as the major programs for the county this year. And so those were the things that the letter actually relates to. The report on page 10 deals with, again, compliance and internal control, where the processes and the procedures that y'all have put in place as far as those particular programs, were they effective in adhering to the compliance and whatnot with those grants. And so, again, we didn't find anything that would be brought forward as far as any kind of material weakness or significant deficiency in internal control, and no compliance issues. So, across all 3 reports, best reports you can receive. There we get into what's called management's discussion and analysis. It begins on page 18. I always like to kind of point this out because it kind of summarizes some things. It also gives some comparative information. But you can turn over to page 20. You'll see the summary statement of net position, more commonly referred to as the balance sheet. What you'll see here is the total assets, the liabilities, and then your resulting net position. You can see there in 2020, our total assets were a little over $72 million as compared to $68 million the prior year. The liabilities at 27 versus 32. And then our net position there at the bottom, 41 million for the prior year and a little over 45 million for the current year. Now, the biggest chunk of that is tied up in our capital assets and whatnot, our roads, our buildings, and those kind of things. But you can see there what's restricted and what's unrestricted. Okay. Then if we'll go on to the next page, we'll get into the summary statement of activities, which again, these are your revenues and expenses, your income statement, so to speak. You can see here that we generated a little over $50 million in revenue past year as compared to $47 million the prior year. Our total expenses at $46 million in the current year versus $48 million in the prior year. So that gives us a net change in position about $3.7 million. So we add that to our beginning of the year balance, we come back to that same $45 million in net position for the year. Then the next page, you can kind of see that same information. Well, where does our revenue come from? Where do our expenses go for? You can see here that property taxes by far is the largest revenue source that we have, along with state and other taxes, that's sales and other taxes. So a combination of those two is about 80% of our budget, a little over 80% of our budget. So we look at our expenses there at the bottom. Where do we spend our money? You can see there that judicial, I think, is the largest, as well as infrastructure, 22% and 23% respectively. Public safety at 17%, and then general government at 20%. So you can kind of get an idea as to where the money's going, what it's being used for. Then the rest of the management's discussion analysis is just additional information. I'm just going to kind of skip on through it and get back into the financial statements themselves, which begin on page 28. What you'll see here in Exhibit A1 and Exhibit A2 is exactly the same information that we just looked at in those two summary schedules. The only thing here is a little bit more detail. You can see how much cash and investments we had, how much property and equipment we've got. There's a couple of things in here just to point out so that try to get some answers. The deferred outflows of resources and deferred inflows of resources. Those are things that relate to your pension plan and your retirement, your health insurance for retirees, those plans. Basically, the actuaries determine what your liabilities are, and they look at your population of your employees and what the age makeup for, and how many years they're in the retirement system and whatnot, and then they come up with an estimate of what the liability is, and then there's changes in those assumptions, whether it's interest rate earnings or how many people are in the plan and what their age groups are and whatnot. And so there's lots of assumptions there. And so some of the things that come up are what they deem deferred inflows and outflows. Most of those are related to the actual assumptions that they use from time to time. And as those assumptions change, then they create these deferred inflows and outflows, and then those things are amortized over a 5-year period going forward. And so it's an attempt to try to make some sort of semblance of what the liability exists out there, and what y'all have actually applied towards those liabilities, what is kicked into the retirement plan, what the money is sitting there, is that money going to effectively be available and to make those payments out in the future. And so what happens is that we don't make those, we make those payments along the way, but the expense related to it is actually earned in the current year, even though they're not going to retire for 20 years out into the future. So that's why you get all of these numbers that impact the financial statements. So with that said, I've given you probably as much knowledge as I have about it. So, but if we go to the next schedule, Exhibit A2, this is the statement of activities. This is kind of an income statement that starts with your expenses, goes through your revenue sources, and ultimately ends up with your general revenues, those things that are not specifically directly related to a particular item. And so what you'll see there is charges for services. Those are all the fees and things that we generate throughout the county for those types of services. The operating grants and contributions, so basically when we get money from the state or we get money from the federal government, that's what that column represents. And then the capital grants, when we get a grant to buy equipment or whatnot, then that's reflected in that last column. And then your general revenues, which is your property taxes, your sales and other taxes, investment earnings and those types of things kind of come at the bottom. And so we come back and we look at the same numbers that we saw earlier. We come back to that same $3.7 million and then an increase in our overall net position, come back to that $45 million ending net position. Now, from there, we get out of what are called the government-wide financial statements that are prepared on the accrual basis of accounting, just like full corporate accounting and whatnot. We get back into the governmental fund financial statements. Fund financial statements, they're not cash financial statements because there are receivables and payables, but they more mirror how cash flows through the system. And so when we go out and we pay bills, they're reflected here and whatnot. And so what you'll find here, broken down into what's called the major funds, the general fund, the capital projects fund, and then everything else is lumped together as other governmental funds. But you can see there, cash and investments, the top line across all funds, a little over $42 million. You see receivables in the way of property taxes or sales taxes, whatever, some other additional prepaid items and whatnot. So our total assets for the general fund, a little over $26 million, and across all funds, $46 million. Then we get into the liabilities. Our liabilities consist of accounts payable, which are just your normal monthly bills that you pay, those things that were unpaid as of the end of the year. Wages, because we're always, we earn wages today, but we're not paying them until 2 weeks out into the future and whatnot. So there's always going to be this accrued wages payable that's there. So anyway, we get down to our total liability there across all funds, a little over $7 million. Then we get into the equity itself. The non-spendable equity basically represents prepaid items, things that we can't just go cash them in and turn around and use that cash. So they're non-spendable. Then we have restricted assets. Take, for example, like the county clerk records management fund. It's restricted for her purpose. It's not something that we can spend. You look at committed. Those are things that, while they're not restricted, they've been kind of somewhat restricted by the Commissioner's Court or by things, so like committing for future capital projects and those types of things. So that's what that committed thing would be. Assigned is basically, we don't have anything there, but it's basically the same thing as committed. It's just sometimes people want to, or not people, but the Commissioner's Court or the people that are preparing the financial statements, if we've got some things that we want to, say, assign. Basically, we could say that, well, we were doing a project for whatever purpose, and we didn't get finished at the end of the year, so we want to assign that additional $200,000 for that project going into the future year. So that would be something that an assignment would be. And then the unassigned, that's basically money that's free to spend on whatever wants to be spent. Then from there, if we skip over a couple of pages, we get to Exhibit A5. Here's your revenues, your expenditures, and then any other financing sources and uses. You can see here that the general fund generated a little over $37 million in revenues, and then across all funds, almost $50 million in revenues. Expenditures are broken down into the various functions that the government serves, so general government, judicial, public safety, corrections and rehabilitation, health and human services, community development, infrastructure, and then debt service. And you can see there the general fund has $31 million in expenditures, and almost $49 million across all funds. Our other financing sources and uses could be either debt proceeds or transfers between funds, a variety of things. This past fiscal year didn't do a whole lot of that type of activity except moving funds between various funds and whatnot. So we get down to our net change in fund equity. That's that third line from the bottom, net income or loss, as you would say. You can see there $4.2 million in the general fund. The capital projects fund is something that we get money ahead of time by selling bonds or whatever the case may be, or money that we've moved over there. So it had a little over $2 million loss. And so $2.8 million across all funds for a net increase. Okay. Now, the rest of the report has just got a lot of stuff in it. Not really want to spend a whole lot of time. I will point out on page 45, the changes in long-term debt. Most people are concerned about how much money do we owe and whatnot, but you can see there it's broken down into bonds, leases, loans, premiums, what we owe the comptroller, and then potentially what our compensated absences liability would be going forward. But you can see there we started off the year at $9.7 million, and we ended the year at $8.9 million. And then over the next couple of pages, there's information that shows what our principal payments are, what we're going to be paying out over the next few periods, and what's owed going forward. Then from there, you get into a big note on the pension plan, and then it follows it up with one on the post-employment benefit plan, which is your retiree health insurance plan. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through any of that kind of stuff. About maybe 3 more pages. On page 59 is a comparison of the budget with the general fund. You can see what the original budget was, what the amended budget was, and then what actually occurred. You can see that as far as our revenues, we generated $1.6 million in revenues more than we had budgeted. Our expenditures were $3 million less than what we had budgeted. So when we get down to that net change in fund equity, the next to the bottom line there, you can see that we're some $4.7 million above, better than what we had anticipated with our budget. So, okay. And then one last schedule back here. Mentioned it a little earlier about, it's on page 66. This is the schedule of expenditures and federal awards. This is new. You haven't had that in the last few years. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago, we had some additional state funding. Back when a major program was $300,000, now it's $750,000. So it's changed a little bit, but what you can see here is that there's the various federal programs which we had participated or what we received funding under, and you'll see there at the bottom a little over $1.5 million in federal expenditures for the year. The biggest chunk of those being in the Coronavirus Relief Fund and then the Community Development Block Grant. For those of y'all that don't know, the Community Development Block Grant is the money that y'all basically participate in for all these water supplies. Y'all been doing these water projects for the last 10 years, and this year $319,000 came in for those organizations. Y'all kind of split that around and gone to various across the county. So then a lot of the other ones are pretty small grants and whatnot, but I know I've gone through it pretty quickly, just tried to hit the high points. We could spend all day talking about it if you want to, but I trust you probably don't want to do that. But if anybody got any questions, feel happy to answer anything that I can.
Commissioners, got any questions? After we read it, we might have to call
Well,
you.
that's okay. Feel free to, because I.
We'll read it at night when we can't sleep good. It'll put us to sleep probably.
I can tell you there'd be some days that probably there's some stuff in there that would be that. There's no doubt about it. But,
Within all of this, does it show what type of a rating we have?
what type of a what?
Rating as far as borrowing or anything like
No.
that? It wouldn't
No,
show that way.
we don't do bond ratings, thank goodness. But I'm sure your financial advisor and Moody's or whoever.
When we went out last
Going
with,
through-
for that last bond issue, we were double A, I think.
Double A, I thought.
Oh, excuse me, AA plus or something like
Double A
that.
plus,
I've-
yeah.
I've got that fill up if you want me to look it up
Yeah.
next time you're in my office.
I'd be glad
Yeah.
to. Thank you.
We did that, Philip, in March when we issued those bonds.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Thank you, Robert.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you.
as always, we appreciate the opportunity, and once again, we'll say apologize for it being as late as it is, but it's
We'll do
learned
better
me
next year, right?
It's learned me a lesson not to trust anybody when it comes to the computer,
So
so.
we're gonna shoot for June of next year, or May.
Before that, if it's
All
up to
right.
me, so.
Good.
All right.
We got that on record now, so.
Yeah, I've said it. I've said it. That's right. That's right. Okay, well, thank
Thank
y'all
you.
very much.
Keep this tape. We may need it. I'm kidding. All right, you need action on this, Bruce? Do we need to approve it, or?
Yes, it needs action
All
to
right.
be approved by commissioners.
All right, Commissioners, entertain a motion for approval, action item number 1.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action item number 2, a proclamation proclaiming September 21st as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in Hunt County. The proclamation reads, September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas prostate cancer constitutes 20% of all male cancer diagnosis and 10% of all male cancer deaths, and whereas in Texas, an estimated 14,200 new cases of prostate cancer and an estimated 2,180 deaths will occur in 2021. And whereas men of African ancestry, men with a family history of prostate cancer, firefighters, and men exposed to Agent Orange are at the highest risk. And whereas prostate cancer is the second most commonly diagnosed cancer in American men, only behind skin cancer, and the second leading cause of cancer death in men behind lung cancer. And whereas this year approximately 248,530 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in the United States. That's one man in every 2.1 minutes, and roughly 34,130 will die this year from the disease, which is one man every 15 minutes. Whereas 1 in 8 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime, men of African ancestry are in the highest risk for the disease with a rate of 1 in 6 men. They are also 2.1 times more likely to die from the disease. And whereas prostate cancer not only affects men, but also affects their families and friends, and whereas education regarding prostate cancer and early detection strategies are critical to saving lives, preserving and protecting our families, and whereas all men are at risk for prostate cancer, the citizens of Hunt County are encouraged to increase their personal awareness of prostate cancer and of the importance of prostate cancer screenings. Therefore, I, Bobby Stovall, Hunt County Judge, Hunt County, Texas, do hereby proclaim September 2021 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Yep, come ahead, please.
Thank you for doing that. My name is Michael Hall, and I'm a board member of the North Texas Prostate Cancer Coalition. I was diagnosed in 2018 with prostate cancer. I'm 56 years old today, and the early diagnosis for me allowed me to pursue some great treatments and great options. The proclamation provided to you includes statistics that all men and women should become aware of. The purpose of presenting this proclamation is to use this opportunity and platform to address the citizens of Hunt County, both men and women who will watch the video of this meeting. Hopefully it will be not glossed over as something unimportant. Citizens should be aware of this disease so they can discuss it with their doctor and take appropriate action. We're hoping that the county can make the information available to the public. This disease can strike any man. Its occurrence can be detected and monitored by a simple blood test that measures the prostate-specific antigen, or PSA. Awareness and early detection still are the key to defeating this disease. There are several treatment options once it is found. The internet has a wealth of information, and I would encourage the citizens of Hunt County to go to and Google the North Texas Prostate Coalition on the internet. Again, North Texas Prostate Cancer Coalition. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we feel that September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and it's just as important to men as breast cancer is to women. So I want to thank the court. Thank you, Judge Stovall, for recognizing this.
Thank you. We're going to get that signed for you so you can take a copy with you. Commissioners, entertain a motion for approval, action item number 2.
So moved.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Happy birthday, by the way, Michael.
Action item number 3, presentation from the Armed Forces Benefit Association, Texas Coordinator. Is Ashley here? We'll skip it in case she's running late. Come back to it. If not, we'll have to put it off for another time. Action item number 4, the monthly treasury report for July 2021. Brittany's not available to be here. Commissioners, you have the treasury report in front of you. She said she might be available by phone if we got any questions. If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 5, the county district attorney has submitted the 2021 annual road report and packet to the grand jury on August 27th, 2021. It's been submitted back so we can file it a record. This will be the last year we have to do this. The state changed the law this year, and we no longer have to report it to the grand jury. That dated back, I think it's in 1926 or something, that law was written, and before there was all of the oversight and controls that are in there today. So anyway, they cleaned that up, and we won't have to do this any longer. But I entertain a motion for approval, action item number 5.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 6, the amendment of the 2022 holiday schedule. We inadvertently made a mistake on our schedule, and the correct one is in your package. I think we had, the 24th and 24th and 3rd? Yeah, we had 23rd, 24th, should be 23rd and 26th for Christmas. So we need to, I entertain a motion for approval to change our holiday schedule to correctly reflect the holidays that we need to take.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 7, a bond from Cheryl Lowry, purchasing agent for Hunt County, effective September 16th, 2021 through September 16th, 2023. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 8, fiscal year 2022 statewide automated victim notification service SANS grant contract by and between OAG and Hunt County, and the second contract renewal of the fiscal year 2022 participating entity services agreement for the statewide automated victim services by and between APRIS and Hunt County. I previously had that sent to me, and I have already executed that without knowing I had to come to court to get it approved. So I entertain a motion for approval so I can re-execute this agreement. It's money that they refund us for defense, indigent defense, I believe, isn't that right? Stacy, you know, I think it's Diane's deal. I think it's for indigent defense.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 9, an MOU by and between Texas A&M AgriLife Extension in Hunt County. Daniel, you want to brief us on this?
Yeah, this is the annual contract with the AgriLife group, and there's, I don't think anything in here that we're not already doing. This basically creates an evergreen agreement so that it doesn't have to come back to court every year. There's a section that talks about the dates that will be effective, but then it creates a evergreen section where you don't have to come back and do it over and over. And then either of the parties can terminate this within 90 days if there's some reason in the future to do that.
Okay.
Is there any monetary involved in this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So did I miss it in here then? Or is it
The
not
county
supposed
pays
to
us
be?
salaries and provides office
No, we pay
space.
part of them.
Part of the salaries and the
We pay
office space.
part salaries.
So that doesn't have to be in here then?
No. That's
Okay.
allowing us to do that. Isn't that what the understanding
Yeah,
is?
well, and it does go through salary payment.
But we don't, I mean, it changes from year to year, so.
Yes, and there's a section that talks about that as well as, the Commissioners Court can adjust those.
Right.
To my knowledge, nothing has changed in reference to it. Even the budget that we have was not affected by it. It was in there to pay salaries and some other stuff, but
Well, a year or two ago, there were some changes because we didn't give raises to them along with our other employees. I met with Hurley and they were having some issues over there, so we opted out. I opted out of recommending any raises. So we do have some oversight and responsibility, and we give monies and we furnish them a space, and we furnish them internet and phones and all that. So, you know, we are providing services for them, but they do a great service in educating our kids and local farmers and ranchers. So it's a worthwhile project. And so I'll entertain a motion for approval of action item number 9.
so move.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I might mention, ask Mark to meet with them. They're interviewing 2 people, I think it is, for a position that's been vacant for a while when Latham's daughter left. Can't think of her name.
Sarah.
Now, she went
Sarah,
to,
yeah.
I think
So
she
they're
went to
replacing
Emory.
her, yeah. So they're interviewing to replace Sarah that left. So I asked Mark, they wanted somebody from the court to be involved in it, so I asked Mark to participate in that. Action item number 10, the contract with BKD regarding audit and related services related to American Rescue Plan, ARP. Commissioner, this is the same firm that we used during our CARES funding, and they've agreed, and the agreement is in the package. And Daniel, you got any comments on it, or?
No, it's, we need this service, and it's,
Absolutely.
this is a need to exceed, or not to exceed contract of $49,500. Yes, sir?
May we go into executive session so we can discuss further and then come back to it, please?
Okay, you're saying you want me to stop talking about it right now? And then do
Yes,
that
I'd like to
after?
go into executive session so we can ask you some questions.
Okay.
Okay. We'll pick it up later then. We'll hold this until a later time. We're not going to execute. Let's finish the agenda. Action item number 11, upgrade of approximately 1,250 feet for County Road 2540 from dirt to rock. Money's in escrow.
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve the upgrade of approximately 1,250 feet on County Road 2540 from dirt to rock. The money is in escrow.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 12, the upgrade of approximately 830 feet of County Road 3133 from Hall Cemetery Road north 1,830 feet from gravel to oil dirt at county's expense.
Your Honor, I make a motion that we allow this upgrade of 1,830 foot on 3133 from gravel to oil at the county's expense.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 13, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities across County Road 2326.
Make a motion, we approve the request to construct electrical power distribution under County Road 2326, under usual stipulations.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 14, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities across County Road 2532 and Precinct 2.
Make a motion, we approve construct the electrical power distribution facility under County Road 2532 under usual stipulations.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 15, the approval of the final plat of Barker Estates in Precinct 4.
Pretty basic plat, existing house, everything on this property. This is a big farm, and this is where the house and barns sit. They're cutting this off and keeping the rest of the farm. Everybody's got ample frontage and pretty straightforward.
Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of accounts payable.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of line item transfers.
Make a motion for approval of line item transfers.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of budget amendments.
Make a motion for approval of budget amendments.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of payroll and personnel.
Make a motion, we approve payroll and personnel.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Daniel, we got anything online?
No.
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go in executive session under items one.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll go into executive session at 10:39.
Did you turn us off?
Yes, sir? So we do not need to go back to consent calendar, right?
We are live, Judge.
All right, it's 11:39, we're back in regular session. No one's still present from the Armed Forces Benefit Association, so I guess we'll table that till next time, and Jessica, if you can reach out to them and see what happened. And then action item number 10, the contract with BKD regarding audit and related services related to American Rescue Plan. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Is there any other business?
Yes, the item, I forgot the item number about the sick leave policy.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
it'll be the item about taking action after executive session. So you have in front of you a
I
general.
think it was only an executive session, wasn't it?
That's correct. So this, taking action on it will be based on that line afterward, talking about
Right.
taking action.
Okay.
All right, so you have in front of you two different documents. One's a policy statement for Sandy's purposes and working with the employees and department heads and elected officials. The second one is the resolution adopting this new paragraph. And we discussed in executive session some things related to that. Sandy's made some changes. Sandy, do you want to, basically when this is done being read, if the commissioners want to adopt this new paragraph to add into the policy, which pays for employees' sick time if their children's school or daycare is canceled, and they prove that that is the case, then you can move to approve the additional language that Sandy's about to say. So, Sandy, if you don't, we don't need to read the whole thing, but if you could start, this will start on the policy page, and basically what's, if your motion approves this, then this language that Sandy's about to read will be included in the resolution itself, so that we don't have to go through that twice.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so you just want me to start here?
yeah,
where it says
basically, if you are on the policy page, the line that starts with 19.
19 diagnosis may receive disaster leave with pay. In such case, employees will be required to provide proof of the closure or need to isolate to the employee's supervisor and then forward to the county treasurer along with employee's timesheet. If test results and/or letter from school or daycare are not attached to timesheets, sick leave will be used. Disaster leave with pay under those circumstances shall cease when the condition requiring the employee to miss work is no longer present and documentable.
So to the extent any of you want to add that paragraph in as amended and read out loud, then you can move at this point to approve the resolution as read.
So we need a motion to approve the resolution for the authorization and amendment to COVID-19 related disaster leave with pay for county employees, and with the insert of what was just read into that resolution
Into the resolution and the policy language.
and into the policy language.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anybody online?
No.
So being nobody online, is there any other business before the court today? Being none, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 11:43.
Just in time.